Hey guys, I'm Mike Curtin. This is the Brew World Order podcast, and today I'm with Nick Cimorelli of South Shore Craft Brewery in Oceanside, New York. Nick, how's it going, man?
It's going well. Thank you.
All right, thank you for being with us. Glad we can make it work. So can you tell us a little bit, about you and where you grew up, how it led into you owning a brewery?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I basically grew up on Long Island. I think I was born in Brooklyn, but we moved out here pretty quick. So I was basically brought up out here in Nassau County. Um, I was a school teacher for 34 years. I just recently retired, and you know, part of the plan, I guess, at some point became before I retired was like, hey, I've been home brewing for 25 years, sharing my beer with a bunch of people at work, and it was just like everyone's like, you got to open up a brewery, you got to open up a brewery. My partner in the business was also a co-teacher of mine. We kind of ran the whole department. So I got him involved in it and
Okay,
showed him how to homebrew and stuff like that. So, the two of us, concocted this plan to open up a brewery. And that's pretty much, in a nutshell, I'm sure there's a lot more I could tell you, but
yeah, no,
that's
that's
pretty
that's
much how
fine.
we kind of, came up with the idea for
Okay,
this. Yeah.
and what was that like aha moment for you that kind of stuck out where you were like, I'm doing this, I'm gonna make this happen?
Um, I think the aha moment was just being part of, like, the homebrew club in Nassau County. I kind of joined in like 2015, and I got a lot of positive feedback from them, and I saw other people, be, being able to do it, and I'm like, wow, so this probably is something that is definitely doable. And
Right.
then another aha moment was hooking up with my business partner Yui, and he kind of pushed me, and because he wanted to do this too, and so a little push here and a little push there kind of made this happen.
Gotcha. And the homebrew club, that was the one that Pete ran, right?
Pete ran, yep. Oh,
He,
now Pete's our brewer.
yes, I
He's
heard
still
that. Yeah,
involved,
I spoke to him recently about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So just really, if he hadn't opened up a shop in Baldwin, which is close,
Right.
instead of me have to travel and everything else, because I like going to the shop, not just getting stuff on mail order.
Right.
It probably wouldn't have happened. And then it just everything fell into place. It's hard to
Right.
explain. It just
Yeah, I
it
love to
kind of came
frequent his shop.
together at the right time.
Yeah, I loved going to his shop when it was there. It was great, man.
Oh yeah,
It's a
a lot of
great little
fun.
setup. So how did you guys go about funding your business?
We put some of our money in. Honestly, most of the money came from an SBA loan. So I will say that anyone that's trying to do this, don't even bother trying to get funding unless you have like a rock solid business plan. We worked with a company that helped us develop our business plan. It was an investment. It was, a few $1,000s,
Right.
but it took about 6 months to do. But once that was done and prepared, and it had a professional look, and it was researched, and then we presented it to the bank, um, they were very impressed with it, and we got the funding. Obviously, we had to put a percentage down.
Right, for sure.
You had to put, they're not going to give you a loan unless you have skin in the game. Obviously,
Of course.
it's kind of like
If
buying
you
a
have,
house. It's no
yeah.
five percent and no PMI insurance. It's like you got to put down.
I think
Probably
it's like
like
a third, right? Or something like
I
that.
think I think we got away with like around 20%, 20 to
Okay.
25%, um, something like that. But yeah.
Okay. And from when you first came up with the idea to open the brewery to the moment you opened your doors, during that process, what was the hardest part for you?
I get the hardest part was kind of like just honestly just getting every little bit coordinated between your TTB license, your state license, getting a lease, working with the town to get the building department, working with your architect, working with your equipment manufacturer, um, you know, and like, we were thinking small, and I'm glad like we were going to get a 5 barrel system. I'm glad we went to a 7 barrel system. We probably should have went to a 10 barrel system, but
Right.
I'm happy with the choices that we made. I would, but again, just all the little pieces, and then a few months before we opened, we had to make sure that we had our public assembly. So a lot of people don't realize if you have a certain, how do you say, occupancy rate, you need to have a public assembly through the town. So
Right.
which means you have to have fire systems and fire alarm systems and things like that. So a lot of hoops you got to jump through.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
yeah.
If somebody like was looking to open their own place and knowing what you know now about the whole opening process, would you recommend them hire somebody that knows how to deal with all that?
Well, we hired somebody, but we had to figure out a lot of it out on our own. So
Okay.
you have to do all the research. Nobody's going to hand you a book and say, "Here's your checklist. Go do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to be able to open up this brewery." There were things that we didn't do and that we just kind of just started finishing up now, even though we were open. There was some compliance and regulation things that we were out of compliance on, but we were able
Right.
to take care of that. The other thing I would say is don't think small. You need to think big. You need to have room in your place to expand, because if you're successful, you're going to need to expand very quickly, and it's very easy to grow out of a space if you pick a space that's too small. We were lucky that we picked a place that there was room to expand, and we really took over. We almost, with the storage area and everything that we needed, we almost, I wouldn't say double the size, but we definitely, you know, increased our size of our place a lot.
Awesome. And when opening, is there what's something that you never thought you were gonna have to deal with now that you've been open for a while?
People,
Yeah.
employees. I employ, like they say, the old the famous quote is, employees are your greatest resource. But
Right.
having reliable employees, having people that are going to be there for you and be trustworthy is really important. And then as you get big, we started the place with a handful of employees, and now we have like, cycling through like 20 or 30 people. Even though like some people only work 1 day a week, but you know for a lot of people in this business, or at least in ours, it's a part-time job. So
Right.
um, having reliable people, and we were lucky to get some very good reliable people from the get-go.
Right.
Absolutely.
Building a strong team's really
You can't, yeah,
important.
you can't do it all by yourself. I think
No.
that's definitely one of the things between like sales and distribution and ordering materials and everything, and dealing with payroll. I mean, having a bookkeeper. I mean, it's something as simple as that knows what they're doing. I mean, we're still figuring out how the best way to do our books and make sure that we're all in compliance with everything that we need.
I'm sure. And you guys opened around, was it 2018? You opened your doors?
2000, October 2019. So
2019.
it was about a 16, 17 month from the time we signed the lease. Um, um, yeah. So we incorporated in 2017.
Right.
In 2018, we signed our lease, which you really can't even do anything until you sign your lease. So that's like a huge. Like, people don't realize that. Like, you can't even start applying for licenses or anything until you have a place. So now you're committed to a place, and you got to realize that can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months before if you're lucky to get
Right.
to get everything going.
So you're
Um,
paying your rent and you're not
yeah,
even making
yeah. I
any
mean, we made
income.
a deal. I mean, again, a lot of places, depending on where you are, not a lot, but I'm
Right.
sure some people will realize it's going to take you a year, and they'll give you a break. So we were
Right.
given a break on the first year of rent. So, but
Very
then at
cool.
some point, people want, obviously they want their rent. You know,
They're gonna up it,
yeah.
obviously. Uh, and you were open for just a short while before COVID hit.
Oh,
How'd you
absolutely.
go about how'd you go about dealing with that and pivoting to make your business work? I'm sure that had to hurt a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, funny stories. I mean, we were open 5 months, and as it turns out, the weekend, the Friday before everything shut down, it was like right before St. Patrick's Day. Okay, we canned our first two batches. So we
Right.
were 5 months in. We always wanted to can, so we were lucky that we canned those two batches. We had like 140, 150 cases of beer, and so now we knew we could sell, like we could sell to go and things like that. We also had a hand canner, so we had all this beer that was produced. It's sitting in kegs. Obviously, you can't really sell that to go. So we had one of those October Seamers that we used to use for, like samples and like, giving to people and trying to get
Right.
our stuff out. So we broke that out. We had people come in. I mean, obviously we had to lay off some people, but we did bring people in every day, and we would do like 5 or 10 cases of beer a day out of the taps. And our point of sales company was really good. They hooked us up with the website really quick, and between deliveries and people coming in and picking up beer, it was a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver for those, probably, I think it was like maybe like 3 months we were all shut down
Right.
until like June,
Yeah.
and we started slowly opening up. But without that can seamer and without that first batch being canned, and then obviously after that we knew, okay, well, we're gonna start, anything we brew is going into cans, and
Right.
yeah, so that was
I
that
think
was
I
a
think
lifesaver at that point.
I think things were a little bit more relaxed out in the island than they were in the city for sure. But I'm sure that had
Yeah,
to help a tiny bit.
yeah.
Thank God.
I mean, it's listen. Our goal was just to get the rent paid every month.
Right.
You know?
And what do you think's been the biggest lesson learned so far since opening?
Um, Things change very quickly, very very quickly, and you have to be
Right.
prepared to either. If you're not prepared, you need to figure it out very quick of how you're going to adapt to that change. Um, if you're doing well and you start growing quickly, you need to have stuff to accommodate that increased demand.
Right.
And yeah,
Um, yeah. So I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about like the almost like a flooding of the market. Um, there was almost no breweries
yeah,
going back
yeah,
8 years ago, and now it's almost like it's insane, especially in your area. I mean, you got, I think, with Long Beach now, and you got like 4 or 5 breweries in your
yeah,
surrounding areas. How do you stay ahead of the competition? I know it's like almost like a camaraderie. Everybody kind of gets along, um, but
yeah. I
how do
mean,
you
I
stay
don't.
ahead?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think it's they are competition, of course, but it is definitely a camaraderie. I think the beer. I think having a good beer culture, and I think being in touch with the people around you is important. Um, we're lucky that we have a nice space, a big space, and we were able to, do a tent outside in our parking lot.
Right.
So I think that kind of sets us apart a little bit. We're kind of also isolated from a lot of people, so we really don't have any neighbors to worry about with noise and things like that. So, I think that kind of sets us apart a little bit. And, we have done a lot of parties and things like that. So that kind of, I think, sets us apart from our friends that brew near us. But
Gotcha.
another thing that I think sets us apart is that we try to do a wide variety of beer. We don't really stick. We have the ones that sell, but we also try to put some other things on there that everybody's like. Our motto is let's have something for everybody.
Right. Stuff going
You know,
into a brewery when it's like, oh,
yeah.
IPA, 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 oh, double IPA, oh, good.
Well, but also including wine, mead,
Right. Yes.
cider. That I think is important. If you don't, you have to have gluten-free options, or you're just going to shut out a whole segment of the population.
Of course. Yeah. And is there somebody? I'm sure you have tons of friends in the brewing industry now, but is there somebody that stands out that was a big influence for you?
Um, well, I'll give a shout out to my the guy Mark in Six Harbors. Again, he was one of the guys that was in the homebrew club, and you know,
Right.
seeing him open up a brewery, like standing next to him and pouring him at festivals, then he's gonna open up a brewery. It's like, well, I could probably do that too. I mean, so yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Just seeing people do things that are on that are the same as people that are the same as you. It's doable.
Yeah. Mark's a cool guy. I interviewed him a while back. He's
Yeah,
big on business plan,
yeah.
huge on business plan, and I don't
Oh
blame
yeah.
him. Planning out is very important. Um, how do you? Is there a moment that sticks out for you that made you feel like you were going in the right direction?
Um, there's probably a
I
lot of
know
moments.
he's
There's
always
probably
keeping
a
your
lot
head
of
above water.
moments. There's probably a lot of moments, but just having people come in and just saying that they really like the beer, that's
Right.
really the moment. People come in and you go, "This is great beer, it tastes wonderful," and things like that. And that's really what does it. If people like it, they're going to come back, and you're going to be successful.
Right. And how do you specifically yourself, in your opinion, what is success to you?
It's a tough one, you know. That really is. I'm not the type of person that needs to conquer every mountain. I mean, if we have a nice steady business and we have customers that keep coming back to us because they like our beer, to me that is success. And we
Right.
have that. We have people that we see on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and we know them by name. They know us by name, and they're like, "When are you gonna bring back that beer? When are you gonna bring back that beer?" So like they
Right.
remember all the beers that we have and have brewed, and that's what really kind of makes it for me.
Gotcha. And I'm sure owning a business can get a little crazy
Sure.
at times. How important is a mental break for you? I know
Um,
you were a teacher and still trying to open this, and so how do you go about doing that?
um,
Get,
if I
Getting
need
a
a
mental
mental break,
break.
I'll just go in the back room. I'll just walk away from everything. I'll just go in the back room and do things. I mean, I definitely try to take mental breaks, and definitely try to take days off during the week.
Right.
Um, but just being busy is I kind of honestly for me is a mental break. As long as if I'm doing something I know how to do, that's fine. That's good enough
Gotcha.
for me.
And what do you think's been the biggest change in the industry since you've opened your brewery?
I think the biggest change has just been a lot more competition.
Right.
You go into a beer distributor, and myself personally, I don't know what beer to pick. You know, I
Yeah.
there's all these different breweries, and we're one of them. I mean, it's just like what beer do you pick? What beer do you try? Um, you know, we're lucky that people know that certain beers here are very popular, and we try to push those out to the breweries, so there's some kind of brand recognition. But just going to a brewery, sorry, going to a beer distributor or anything, it's just, you know, what beer do I pick today? You know,
Right.
it's
Do
hard.
you
It's
feel
so
like
hard to choose.
do you feel like the market's getting a little flooded? And if so, what is the future look like for the beer industry?
I don't know. It's definitely getting saturated with a lot of small breweries.
Right.
It is, and you know, like I'll give an example. I mean, Barrier was one of the first ones around here,
Right.
if not the first one, and they were very smart. They focused on distribution and getting their brand in, and loyal following. So that's key. So if you have a loyal following, I think then you'll do well. But you only get a loyal following by making good beer that people
Right.
like. You know,
Speak. Yeah. Speaking of good beer, what was your gateway beer into the craft beer world?
what was my which beer was it? My
Your gateway beer. What was the beer that opened up your mind to the craft beer world?
oh, I've said this before, but like, well, I mean, well, I guess Blue Point Toasted Lager was definitely one of the early ones.
Right.
Back in the '90s. I like that beer. Pete's Wicked Ale, of course, that's gone right now. The
Right.
Sam
Yes.
Adams. The ones that were marketed and I tried, they were really good. So yeah, some of
Gotcha.
those yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I mean, you were home brewing for how long before you actually opened?
I think I did my first batch in like 1996,
Okay.
95 and 96.
So if you had to give somebody one tip for home brewing, what would that be?
One tip:
Just one,
save your
one
money.
major.
You're going to be spending a lot of money on equipment because you're always going to want to keep improving.
Of
You know,
course.
spend
Yeah.
your money wisely. Buy quality equipment. I mean, I still have stuff. I still have my first brew kettle 25 years ago, so that was
Really.
homemade. Out of an old keg.
Kind of an
That
old
was
keg, right?
liberated.
Yeah. Right.
But,
I'm sure.
I
And
don't recommend doing that, but
no, no. And what's next for your brewery? What does the future look like for South Shore?
um, well, we're trying. A couple things we're trying to do is trying to open up a little party room in the back and
Very
bring
cool.
some other events in there. Maybe do some axe throwing, and some dart leagues and things like that. We've kind of done that already, but we're going to try to kind of run that ourselves
Okay.
at this point. And just honestly, just try to keep coming up with different beers and different flavors that people are going to like right now. I mean, we'd like to do some more distribution. It's tough right now. I think that's a challenge for a lot of small breweries. Just figuring it all out and coming up with a system
Right.
to distribute it's a huge that's a huge thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Once you've gained that community support and you've got a lot of people supporting you, that's when it's time to get the beers out there, right?
Yep.
And speaking of distribution, I mean, how would you go about doing that? Is that like something you would do yourself or hire out?
Well, we're in between right now. We're doing it. We've done a little bit of everything. We've hired out. We've done a lot. We're doing a lot ourselves right now. It's really, I think, the hardest thing is finding the right partner.
Okay.
Because in business, everybody, you look out for yourself first, and people may say, okay, yeah, I'll do this for you or do that for you, but obviously it comes at a cost. So, really doing the research and
Right.
comparing different models of how you're going to distribute is really important.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
I don't have a magic answer for what's perfect on that. Definitely don't. We're still
Of
trying to
course
figure
not.
that out.
No, I don't think anybody does, right? And if somebody came to you, asked for you for advice on opening their own brewery, which I'm sure they've done before,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
I would and do exactly what we did. Just do as much research as you possibly can. Ask as many questions. Go into breweries. Go meet with the owners. Um, Look at a brewery that you like. Um, Look at a layout that you like. You better have a big tap room. You better have. If you can't accommodate 100 people, um, you're probably thinking too small. Um,
Right.
you know, the big thing for us is having live music on the weekends and stuff like that. Just to have we spend money on that. We don't charge cover charges, but just having a reason other than it, the beer is the beer, but also having other reasons for people to keep coming back is important.
Of course. People want a nice vibe to hang out in, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
did you happen to have a funny story for us?
Well, um, well, yeah. Well, I kind of told one with the canner, but honestly, our best-selling beer was a mistake. Our best-selling beer, Shark Bite, was never supposed to be Shark Bite. It was supposed to be something else. Um, Came out. Um, the gravity came out totally different. But we said, all right, let's. This is a type of beer that we wanted to brew anyway, so let's go with it, and we'll call it. It was supposed to be the name of one beer. I'm not gonna tell you what that is, but
Okay.
so we're gonna call it Shark Bite. We always wanted to make that beer, and I don't know. It just people just like loved it, and they really enjoyed it, and we like. Well, hey, this beer did really good. We're gonna have to brew it again. let's try to
Yeah.
make this mistake again. And then, after a couple times, we kind of honed in the recipe that we wanted, and like I said, it's one of our best top three beers that we sell right now.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you guys messed up on
yeah.
that.
Happy mistakes, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Sometimes they happen.
Yeah.
And I have a little segment called Quick Fire 5.
All
It's
right.
5 quick questions, beer related. Somebody comes into your brewery. What's one of the beers you recommend they try?
I would say try Liquid Perfection. It's our flagship pale ale. It's one of the ones that kind of made me want to, you know, drink good beer and share it with people. Absolutely.
All right. Uh, Favorite brewery other than your own?
Um, I would say, I mean, we went down to Asheville, and I really liked Sierra Nevada. I mean, it's a big brewery, but
Yeah,
big brewery like that was like, I was just amazed of just how much work and effort they put in, and how they put all the wood that they tried to put as much wood as they took out to build it back into the brewery with like benches and whatever structural materials they needed out of that.
right.
Um, that's one of my favorites. My favorite brewery again was Long Island Brewing Company back in the day in the '90s, up in West Brewery.
Gotcha.
Too bad they went out of business.
Yeah, right. Uh, Ooh,
Or number three.
favorite style of beer?
Um, I like a nice pale ale.
Pale ale.
Nothing too crazy. Something crisp,
Right.
drinkable, thirst quenching. Yeah.
The last. What's the last beer you drank that blew you away?
Yeah. That's a tough one. I can't
Doesn't
think.
have to be your own. Could be anybody
No, it's
else's.
not it's not going to be my own.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I would have to say like probably like one of the Russian River beers, probably like Pliny the Elder. I mean, I really enjoy that beer. Too bad you can't get it over here,
Yeah,
but
it's hard to get.
yeah, it's hard
It's
to
hard to
get.
get. And you have one keg of beer to hold you over for a 2 week quarantine. Which beer are you used? Which beer are you having?
Um, hmm. I would probably say. Can I pick up? Oh, I'm not gonna pick one of mine then. I
Okay,
would pick Focal Banger from Alchemist.
it's a great beer.
I would take that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, that's all I got for you, man.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm Mike Curtin for the Brew Old Daughter podcast here with Nick Cimorelli of South Shore Craft Brewery in Oceanside, New York. Thank you,
Of
brother.
course. All right. Thank you.
Cheers.